Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is Wednesday. Let's create. We are going to be creating using some things from the new January to April catalog, and I'm just making sure our video is happening in the right place. We're going live on Facebook today instead of on YouTube because YouTube didn't want to cooperate. And so we're giving this a go. So I hope you found us okay. And if you're joining live, just say our hello or howdy so I know you're here. If you're watching later on replay, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I see Laura is already here. Hey, Laura. And Heather is here as well. Good evening, good evening. So we're going to be using a collection in the catalog called Floral Delight. And we're going to be using some of the designer series paper from this one, which has beautiful yellows. It's got the lemon lolly, delightful daffodil delight. That's it, daffodil delight. It's also got some nice pecan pie and old olive in there. And we're going to be using, or have used, the Delightful Wishes stamp set, which creates some beautiful florals, as well as some sentiments on there. And we also have the little teeny tiny bees that we might incorporate as well. So I've got those parked over here. And we're going to be using some die cut circles, because we're doing layers of circles, all the layers. And yes, sorry for the late start. We're just I tried to do the YouTubes, and the YouTubes didn't cooperate. So then I had to start on Facebook. So it took me a while to get through the process, but we are here. We just keep attempting the YouTubes, and the YouTubes keeps going, no, not going to play along. All right, so let's get started. This is a little bit of a different fold, but not a hard fold. And so the first piece that we need to work with, and I'm going to be using Pecan Pie as my base cardstock color. The first piece that we need to work with is 8.5 by 3 inches. And I'm going to use my little pencil here. And I'm going to line it up on my mat. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's sitting on a line. And I'm going to mark 1 inch down on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to mark at 1 inch down, or 2 inches from the bottom, because this is 8.5 by 3 inches. And then I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I got to use my massive big one. Let's see if we can get this into the screen here. My massive big paper trimmer around all the things. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim from this top left corner to our mark right there. That's 1 inch down. So we're going to create a little bit of a slope. So we're putting our top left corner in there, and then we're lining it up with our mark on this side, like so, and creating a nice little angle. Now this is a scrappy bit. Now if you were going to create 2 of these cards, then I would take a piece that is, let me see, 5 inches, so 8.5 by 5, and then I would mark 2 inches up on one side and 2 inches down on the other, and you'd get 2 pieces out of that rectangle. Or you can do it the way I did it and just do the 8.5 by 3. So 8.5 by 5 will get you 2. 8.5 by 3 will get you 1 with a nice little skinny pokey strip left over. Okay, now we're going to need to do some scoring on this. Hey Lynn, nice to see you're watching. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Now, can you see a problem with scoring this particular piece of cardstock? Do you see that there's an issue with this? And let me just visually show you that is an issue because we want our lines to be vertical. So We could try to hold it nice and secure like that, but the easiest thing is just to turn it around and put the straight edge against the measuring part of your scoreboard. Okay, so we're scoring starting at the 2-inch narrow side. We're going to be scoring along the 8.5-inch side, and it's nice and secure, nice and square, and the angle is away from where the measurements are. Okay, our first score line is going to be at 4 inches. So we're just going to go ahead and score at 4 inches, and then we're going to score at 8 inches. And that's it. Just 4 and 8. Easy peasy. This is not a hard card, which is nice. Life is hard enough. We don't have to make hard things all the time. Hey, Carol, nice to see you're watching, and Ellie's here too. Good evening. All right, so now we have, because I turned it back around, now I've got my straight side down. We have a 1/2-inch tab, and then we have 2 4-inch panels. So our little 1/2-inch tab, we want to fold that to the back. So we're folding it with the bump side to the inside, and we're folding it back like that. Okay, so we folded it back. Now this second score line here, that's in the middle of our 2 4-inch pieces, we're going to fold that the wrong way because we're folding it with the dip side to the inside, but we're going to fold this over like this. So we're creating an accordion fold, or a Z fold, or whatever you want to call it, but our other piece is just a little tiny piece, but it is still it's still an accordion. All right, so now we have this piece that has sort of this fun little slope. Kind of reminds me of when my husband plays the video game Donkey Kong and the barrels all run down the slopes. Hey Doreen, good evening. So that is sort of the mechanism for our fun fold card this evening. We're going to anchor that onto a base of Pecan Pie, and this is our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 standard card size. On top of this, we're going to add a layer of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So just like we would center it on a card front, this is actually going to be sort of the inside as well as partially the front of the card. But our little mechanism here with our little Z fold is going to be sandwiched in between. So this is going to be lined up with the bottom of our white card, and the little tab is going to have to attach there, and then it's going to be stuck down like this. So you see how we're kind of creating that sandwich? So the first thing we want to do, and this is why I'm visually showing you, is the inside. This is where the fold is. The inside of this tab, we need to put some adhesive. Just going to scooch that out of the way for a second. So we're going to add some adhesive on here, like that. And I'm going to add 2 strips because this is 1/4 inch adhesive on a 1/2 inch tab. Could use liquid. Could use liquid. If you're patient, absolutely use liquid. Okay, so we want to now attach our white on top of that. But I think the easiest way to do it, and again, I'm showing you visually, is if we take the whole thing, flip it over, line up our white with the lines on the mat, and then line this up with the lines on the mat. So we know that everything's going to be straight. And just give it a little touch. Don't squish it down all the way. And then just make sure that when you fold it over, it's all lining up here. Okay? And once you've assured that it's all lining up, you can go ahead and really squish it down. If you have to adjust, it's easier if you've only just gently touched. There is a possibility of still being able to adjust it. Now you will see that the tab is hidden in behind, and our Z fold folds nicely. We can now go ahead and add our adhesive on the back of this entire panel. Like that. We'll even add a little bit in the middle. And then we will attach this to our base, our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 pecan pie. We're going to center this on the panel like that. Okay, so you can now see, there's a bit of eraser stuck to there. Now you can see it'll stand up, even though there's a little bit of a, you know, 1/8 of an inch gap at the bottom, it still stands up. Your card's not going to fold over because it's got this nice little part that comes out, creates a little bit of an anchor, and it has a nice little profile going there. So now we need to add a little bit to it to make it a little pizzazzy. And to help with that, I have used the, oops, hair on it. Static, everything gets staticky this time of year. Stylish Shapes dies, and I have used the 3 largest circles to create the layers of circles for this card. So we've got the biggest, the next, and the next. We didn't use the smallest 3. And out of those 3 dies, or with those 3 dies, I cut some of the Designer Series paper. And this is a really pretty one, and it's actually the same as this layer. See that? The back sides, it's the same. So this one has lovely yellow background with the little white flowers and little leaves. Now we're not going to see a lot of this pattern because we are going to add a layer of basic white on top, and we're going to add a little sentiment on there. Okay, now I'm not going to stick that down yet. I just want to show you these layers, and then we're going to have a layer of the back side of that, which is this nice textural design. It looks kind of like you've taken linen or burlap and inked it up and pushed it in. It's a very textile-y, like it looks like you should be able to feel the pattern, but you don't. And of course, I've die cut it out with the dies that makes that nice little stitching edge dot around that back side. Little flowers on that side. And then my final circle with the smallest die. So these 2 were cut with that second largest die. The smallest die, I've just cut a piece of old olive cardstock, which coordinates with the greens in this collection. And so there. So let me just give you sort of sizes here. I'm going to use my mat. So this is a 3-inch circle. These 2 are 2.5-ish inch circles. And then the smallest one is 2 1/8. Okay. Now I think I would probably, if I had a die that cut sort of a little bit smaller increments in between the circles, I think I would like that, but I don't. So we'll go with the increments that we have the dies for, right? Because hand cutting circles, that's one of the hardest things to hand cut. And that's coming from somebody who loves to fussy cut. Circles are hard. So dies are lifesavers when it comes to circles, right? You guys know this. I know it. You know it. I know it. We all know it. All right. So I was looking at the Delightful Wishes stamp set, thinking I was going to use one of these sentiments for the card, and I probably could, but I was also looking at these, which are the Greetings for All Mix and Match Ephemera, and I was kind of thinking that these might also be nice for adding onto the card, because there are a lot of sentiments in here that that I don't have a stamp set for, right? So sometimes you can find things like this that kind of broaden the range of things that you have. So there's lots of thinking of you, sending sunshine, just a note, all those kinds of things. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of create my card And then I'm going to pick a sentiment to go on it. From the designer series paper from this collection, I have done some fussy cutting, and I have fussy cut some of the flowers, and we did some of that during our crop. This was a leftover piece that I had already fussy cut. It's from the pattern paper, and we had also done some stamping with this stamp set. And I did extras because when you're already in the mode of stamping, it's nice to just do a few extras so that when you want to make something quick, you'll have a few extras. So here you can see, oops, I'm about to drop something. You can see that I have stamped out these double layer daisy flowers. And so you stamp the solid and you stamp the extra little highlights or lowlights on there. And then I also added in this little leaf. So this one has 2, this one has 1. And then using the larger stamp here, this long one that creates this sort of forsythia, I did this stamping and I fussy cut this out. I fussy cut all of those out because you know me and fussy cutting. So I will put the link to the video that we did during the crop that shows how to do that. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch that because frankly I have to take my son somewhere, so I have to keep our video short and sweet on top of the fact that we started late. So we're going to do some layering up of our items here, and I'm actually, it's weird, I'm going to start with the front first and I'm going to work my way back. So this particular circle I'm going to attach centered, as close to center as I can, and it's going to be attached to this first part of the Z fold. Okay, so I only want to add adhesive just at the bottom, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick my circle in behind, like that, and that's going to give me an idea of where to put my adhesive. Because I'm going to put it right along the edge like that, and then I can remove the backing, like so, and then stick my circle on there, and see about maybe getting it in the center. Like that. Kind of eyeballing it. Sometimes we're good at eyeballing and sometimes we're not. But that's the start of my circle layers. And then behind that, on this middle section, I want to add this circle. And so I'm just kind of eyeballing where the adhesive needs to go. And I'm going to add some onto the back here. Oops. All the little bits. I'm going to put a couple layers of adhesive. I don't want it to be too high up because I want it to just sit on that layer. So here I'm lifting this first one and it's going to be attached to this layer of the pecan pie. All right. And the way to do that is to kind of line it up behind this one, like so. Get it how you want it. And then we're just going to stick this down. And that should help keep it kind of centered around that green one, but now it's stuck to the second layer. And the fun thing is, when we open it up this way, we've got that pretty floral on there. Now, if I wanted to, I could cut a second circle out here and add it on there, which actually might not be a bad idea. To add a second circle there, yeah, I think I like that idea. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do it right now, though. And then our last layer will be on this main part of the card. So we can go ahead and add adhesive all over this one. Just go willy-nilly all over. Take the backing off, but we're going to repeat the same process that we did with the middle one, and that is to hold those two together like that and line this up behind so it looks nice and even all the way around, like so. And then we're just going to close the back. It's always funny when you hold things up in the air like that, right? You kind of give yourself the heebie-jeebies. Now, we want to add this one on here, and we want to make sure that it lines up. Okay, so in order to do that, or you know what, I'm just thinking, if we're going to use one of these, we don't necessarily have to have this layer, do we? We don't have to. So we could put one of these sentiments right on that lovely floral and have more of it showing. We could. Let's see. I think I'm going to use this Thankful for You sentiment. And we can just put that right on there. I like that idea. I love it when a plan comes together. Just add some adhesive on there. Like that. And this is also where I usually use my tweezers. And if we center it on there, we're not going to see it when our card is closed. I like that. Isn't that pretty? Ah, so nice. And I didn't even have to fussy cut it. Not that that's a hardship. I don't mind fussy cutting. So that's an option. You can have it there if you want to stamp on there, or in this case, we just went ahead and added something fussy cut. Awesome. And now we also still have some space to add our nice little message. We could even write over here if we want. And again, too, if you want, you can add an extra panel to the back for more space to write. Now on our card here on the front, we've got our Thankful for You, and I think on the front I want to do Sending Sunshine, because these florals to me just look like sunshine, oodles of sunshine. So I'm just going to set that there for a second and bring in these florals and just kind of create a design, just a nice little spot here. So let's stick them on here and see what happens. We're going to create a nice little cluster. That one can kind of tuck in behind. And maybe that one there. And then our little Sending Sunshine. That looks good. So let's go ahead and add that on there. So we'll stick that on there like that. Add our big floral. And I'm not adding adhesive right to the edge because I want to be able to tuck things under, right? And also you get the little bit of lift that you get without even adding any, I'm not adding any dimensionals to this. I'm just sticking it on. And it creates a nice little amount of lift. One last floral. Oops. The backings all want to stick to me today. That's one of the risks of the winter, is you get all this static, right? And then we're going to add that on. You know what? I think I will add some dimension to this. Let's put some foam tape on the back. And then, of course, we need to add a little bit of bling. And we have the cute little bees. I had also pulled out the antique pearls. Let me grab my tweezers. The antique pearls that go with the storybook collection, or that you'll find with the storybook collection. Let's stick our Sending Sunshine on there. Let's grab our little, these are called the Tiny Bee Trinkets, and they are so cute and so tiny. They are itsy bitsy, but let's go ahead and add a few of these. We're going to stick one here, like that, and then a couple up here, like that. And how are we going to... I'm always at a loss at how to pick up tiny little things like this and get them stuck on, but we'll try the tweezers. Oh my gosh, they are so cute. And another little bee. And of course, when you've got beautiful flowers like this in the springtime, the bees are just so happily attracted to them, aren't they? There we go. Lovely. All right, so there we go. We've created our layers of circles card, and it's got a nice little Z fold element to it. I'm not going to be too aggressive here because I don't want my little bees to fall off, because they're a little bit, even though they're tiny, they have a little bit of weight to them because of their metallicness. Is that a word? Metallicness? But we've gone ahead, we've started out with our Z fold, tucked it in behind our basic white, added it to our standard size card panel, then of course layering up those lovely circles cut with the dies. We've got our lovely designer series paper, and I am going to go ahead and add a second circle back to back with that. I think that's my plan. And then those mix and match ephemera with all the sentiments, creating a really fun way to make a card, some die cut from the pattern paper and some stamped out flowers, and I'll post the link to where I stamped those and show you how I did those. And all just layered up in the little tiny bee trinkets. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that card come together, and we will be on again soon for another crafting adventure, and we'll see you then. All right, have a great evening. Toodaloo. Bye.